and welcome back to the All Out Brits Podcast, the podcast where we send the house on all things NFL from across the seas here in England. And we're coming to you with an absolutely action-packed and special edition of the All Out Brits Podcast, as we're going to be previewing our routes to the Super Bowl as we have the wild card weekend set to go and get underway in the next few days. And as always, to talk about all the wins and losses, all the rookies and veterans that are going to be involved, and all the heartbreaks that are going to occur along the way, is the man, Mr. Elliot Greenwood. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, mate. There's only one heartbreak that's going to be happening. It's not going to be this week. It's going to be next week at Levi's Stadium. That's the only heartbreak.
Is it? Okay.
But other than that, everything's going to be brilliant. We're manifesting the best. We're manifesting number 4 on the chest. He's going to take us all the way to the ball game, baby. And I can't wait. I love playoff football. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I love playoff football so much. I think it's exciting. There's twists, turns. And I just can't wait to talk about it every week, unless the Cowboys lose. That's the only one I'm not going to talk about it too much. That's when you can finally get me to be quiet for more than 5 minutes. Yeah. But other than that, it's going to be such a good postseason. There's some great teams, some great contenders, and a lot of questions of a lot of people that need to be asked. Yeah. So, we're all here to talk about it, Taz, and I can't wait for it, bro.
I know. Well, you heard it here first. If the podcast goes quiet, you know that the Cowboys have been eliminated. And you are right. There are players that are playing for their lives, playing for their franchises, and players that are playing for their contracts as well. So what we've got is a lovely little Super Bowl sort of predictor challenge bracket, you want to call it. That's going to help us go along with all the different games that we've got going underway, and then charter out our path to the Super Bowl and who is going to be sat there with the Lombardi Trophy in their hand come February time. We're going to go through all the little fixtures that we've got along the way, and hopefully we'll be able to decide on a Super Bowl winner. Probably not unanimously, but I'm sure we'll be able to come to some sort of agreement. So shall we kick off then with the first game, the Browns versus the Texans, getting underway here on a Saturday in England. A lovely 9:30 start, which is what we like on a Saturday when there's not much football going on. We can go to the proper football, which we're enjoying a bit more at the moment.
Football.
The Master versus... Shut up. Stop upsetting everybody. We've got the Master and the Commander in Joe Flacco and Mr. CJ Stroud going head-to-head with the Browns and the Texans getting underway. Why don't you take the floor and tell us how you think that one's going to go down, first of all, Mr. Greenwood?
I really don't like that both these two teams are playing each other so early. Mm-hmm. I really wanted this game to be one that was a little bit later on. I want both teams to kind of win a playoff game. I want Stroud to get his first win in the playoffs. And I do really want Joe Flacco to take Cleveland Browns all the way to the Super Bowl. But unfortunately, one team's got to win. Now, these QBs have been playing electric since coming into the league. Obviously, very, very different circumstances. CJ Stroud, obviously drafted 2nd overall, has been brilliant. We've talked about him so much and will continue to do so until he stops being brilliant. On the flip side of that, you've got the veteran in Flacco who's come in and absolutely transformed that franchise from head to toe and given it a proper shakedown and turned the Cleveland Browns into a really, really, really tasty team. Having said that, I really, really, really love CJ Stroud. You know how much I love CJ Stroud. And a home game in Houston, the crowd's going to be rocking. They've not had a playoff game in years. And that is a game where one man is going to stand up, and it's going to be the rookie CJ Stroud. I think he's going to have an absolute day. He's going to go off. He's going to throw for a load of touchdowns. He's going to have a really clean game. I think the scheme's going to be really, really good for him. And I can see Houston getting the job done over the Cleveland Browns. So what do you think about that? How do you think that game's going to go?
Yeah, I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to ruin Joe Flacco's comeback story. I really didn't. But I got to trust my boy Miko. I've seen what he can do on the D. I can see what he can do on the offense. And you mentioned CJ Stroud. We've seen him win shootouts. We've seen him when he has to put the team on his back and he has to carry him down the field. He'll do it. I just know it's going to be a very difficult game because Joe Flacco, we don't know with a week off, didn't play last week, had a bit of a break. We don't know whether that could affect him well or whether it could affect him negatively. Whereas we've seen CJ Stroud continue to be consistent since he's come back from his concussion. We've known that he's had a bit of time off, but he's also kept it going. Maybe he's in the flow. Saw him in a few interviews. He looks ready. He looks calm, composed. And I agree there. The Texans, I do think, are going to make it through on that one. So Let's go with the Texans on that one. Might upset a few people, but Flacco, I'm sorry.
That's a unanimous decision, though. That's Houston both.
Unanimous. Good start.
Think yes. We want to know so far, bro. We'll see how long that continues.
Well, I think we might be in agreement with this one as well in the Dolphins-Chiefs game. We talked about it in our preview podcast. If you haven't listened to that already, why don't you go have a little listen to that one, our Week 18 review, but also a few cheeky previews in there as well. That'll be on our Spotify, on our YouTube, and on our TikTok, so keep an eye on that one. But for the Chiefs-Dolphins, the coldest game, they're calling it. Who's going to come out on top?
It's not even a question for me. It's not even a debate. Tua's going to absolutely crumble. He's going to be like a snowman in the heat. And for me, it's going to be Kansas City taking the dub there. They're going to. I don't think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a very messy game, and it's going to be a game for running backs. That's what I think is going to happen. Patrick Mahomes isn't really going to have a game. I don't think Tua's going to have a game at all. I think Tyreek's going to be really, really limited in his return to Arrow Field. So for me, I think the Kansas City Chiefs still get it done, but I think it's a messy win and it doesn't look that convincing for me.
Yeah, and we're waiting for Mahomes to just come out firing again. I don't want it to be in this game. Like you said, I want it to be close, I want it to be tense. I would love to see the Dolphins go a bit further. I feel bad for them. I feel like they're there and thereabouts. They just don't have enough. I love the team. I love the coach. I love the players. But it's Patrick Mahomes. It's MVP. It's Travis Kelce at Arrowhead. We know that Travis Kelce's girlfriend's going to be in attendance most likely. So we know all the spotlight's going to be there. But do I want to pick Jackson Mahomes being happy? I'm going to have to, aren't I? I don't want to be on the side of being wrong. So it's going to have to be the Chiefs.
He's not going to be smiling for too much longer over this game. But yeah, like you say, it's got to be the Chiefs for that game.
Let's go with the Chiefs then. Let's put the Chiefs down there.
2-0. 2-0.
I think we could be 3-0 here with the Bills and the Steelers because, oh no, Pittsburgh, just stick the yellow on. You don't even need to watch it. It's coming straight back off after about the first quarter. I don't know how the Steelers have made it in. Mason Rudolph has somehow managed to carry them on their back for the past few weeks. And somehow they're in the playoffs. And somehow I think they're not going to make it through.
And I think it's not going to be a very kind of unpopular decision, this, is it? I think a lot of people are going to kind of agree Buffalo are going to get the job done at home. Obviously, TJ Watt missing now from that defensive front in Pittsburgh. That's a massive kind of thing for that Pittsburgh D. He's the centerpiece of that offense. He's of the defense. Sorry, he's the star man. And yeah, I think Josh Allen's going to have a beautiful day. He's going to silence a lot of people. And we've had a lot of comments, especially on the YouTube, on the shorts, about people kind of hating Josh Allen, but the like that we talk positive about him. So the Bills Mafia coming and supporting us. So as much as we get hate, Taz, for being British, we get a lot of love as well, which is something that we love to see. So yeah, I think Buffalo get the job done there. And I think it is 3-0, so is it not?
Yeah, 3-0 it is. Now, I've looked at the next round here, and it's a bit upsetting because I've just seen it's the Eagles-Bucks. The Eagles-Bucks. Now, I don't want to pick the Eagles. I really don't. We'll head over to the NFC side of this. It's going to be a tough game. The Bucks aren't amazing. They've been good this season, but we saw against the Panthers, come on. You've got to be putting up more points. It should have been a straight shooting game. Even when they had the starters out on the field, it wasn't absolutely outstanding. Where do you think this one's heading? Because I think, as much as we don't want to admit it, I think the Eagles are going to fly a bit higher than this one.
I think the Eagles are going to get shot down, bro. I don't think.
No way!
Yeah, I cannot wait for the embarrassment that's going to happen in Philadelphia. There's going to be, if you see when the scenes in Philly after they won the Super Bowl, the scenes this time are going to be even worse. There's going to be cars on fire. People from Philadelphia, they're nutters. They're absolute nutters. And I've been gunning for them in the last two pods, but I don't care. They're absolute crackheads, to be honest with you, mate. I can see Tampa getting the job done. Baker is going to absolutely embarrass Hurts. I think it's Tampa Bay progress in the playoffs in that game. You might not agree with me, sir.
Wow, okay.
We'll come back next week and we'll have a chat about how good Baker Mayfield is. And that's the conversation. And I've already got what I'm going to say lined up. And I can't wait to talk about Baker Mayfield next week, bro.
Well, I'm going to go with the Eagles for this one, I think, just because I know the refs have got everyone on side. Also, soft spot for Mr. Jason Kelce. I think by the looks of it, this could be his last season in the NFL. We want the fairy tale to go on a little bit longer. So I think for me, I'm going to pick the Eagles in that one. But what about this game here? The Rams and the Lions. The return of Batman. The return of the prodigal son. The battle of the both of them. Wow. The trade that absolutely revolutionized the Rams franchise. And by the looks of it, the trade that absolutely revolutionized the Lions franchise as well. Let's talk QBs first of all. Matthew Stafford wins a Super Bowl 2 seasons ago, then goes down last season with a really bad injury. And I thought he wasn't going to make it back with the way they were talking about, the serious injury he'd gone through. But he's come back and he's throwing the ball about and he's playing in a Rams team with rookies and playing with players who really have been getting it done. They've struggled a few times in the season without Stafford, and they've got a few losses when he's in there and hasn't really been effective. But they've looked like a really good team in our division. And same as the Lions, Mr. Jared Goff. I'll let you talk about that, Batman, because you're my little Robin, aren't you?
Sure, you little knob. That's what you are. If I'm a little Robin, you're a little knobhead, mate. But yeah, Jared Goff, he's been superb. He's been absolutely superb since the trade. There was a lot of questions kind of when he went to Detroit, but most of them have been answered now. And he's took Detroit for their first home playoff game in donkey's years, which is something that's fantastic for the Lions franchise. However, the man that they drafted and traded away is going to wipe some smiles off the faces of the Lions. I can see the Rams going into Detroit and coming out with a whole lot more than just a win. I think they're going to embarrass the Lions in their own backyard. I think Puka Nacua, obviously, is the best rookie season of a wide receiver ever, the most yards ever. Up there with Randy Moss, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. He's been superb this season. But then on the flip side, you've got Cooper Kupp as well. He's been brilliant as well in phases this season when he's obviously started off injured and he's come back and he's kind of been hit and miss. But when he's hit, God, is he good. He's been an absolute revelation. But yeah, for me, LA get the job done in Detroit. And what a storyline that is. Obviously, both players were first round picks, really, really high picks for the respective teams. And now they've swapped places and they've got the teams clicking in a completely different way. But yeah, for me, the Rams progress in the playoffs.
And the big talking point as well, no Sam Laporta, injured. He was chasing that record in the final week and he did get it. But now he's walked away injured. And that could be a big blow for the Lions. And I think that's what's leaning me towards the Rams is that big injury to a man who they've targeted quite heavily and who's been a big part of that offense this season. And so I do agree with there. I think that the Rams could be taking that one there. And I think the Lions, they've had a great season. It's been a fairy tale, but is it going to end here? I think it most likely will. Let's move on to the next clash then. I'm sure you'll want to talk about this one a fair amount. So I'm just going to sit here with my mouth shut and let you just roll with it. Cowboys, Packers. How do you think this one's going to go then, sweetheart?
It's going to be brilliant. I think it's going to be a really exciting game, actually. I think if Jordan Love starts playing good football, obviously we've seen it in phases over the season. If he plays good this week, it's not going to matter at all because Micah Parsons is going to be in his face. He's got the most pressures by anyone in the league. Deron Bland, if somehow Jordan Love decides to throw the ball, Deron Bland's going to be there to intercept it. 9 interceptions for him this season, and 5 of them have gone the other way to the house. And then CeeDee Lamb, when we do end up getting the ball back, Dak Prescott is throwing the most touchdowns in the league this season. He's going to throw the ball to CeeDee Lamb, who's had the most receptions in the league this season. I can see this being an easy Dallas win. And the Dallas Cowboys are going to progress. And as much as you don't like the Cowboys, and as much as you don't like how much I love the Cowboys, and you don't like MV Prescott, who is the MVP of the league now, without a shadow of a doubt. As much as you don't like him. And also, the comments agree with me on that one. The comments love Dak Prescott. You can't say they don't. A lot of Brits talk a lot of sense about Prescott, which is fantastic to see. I can see Dallas progressing in that game. I don't even think it's a topic for that's kind of up for debate, bro. I think it's a stone wall at this point that the Dallas Cowboys kind of progress in the playoffs. What do you think?
Well, I don't want to pick them, but if I pick them, I know it's going to mess up this entire Super Bowl bracket. So I don't know what to do here. I can't even talk in favor of the Packers. They've just been hot and cold. Like you mentioned, Jordan Love could have the game of his life. We've seen, especially last week, the Cowboys, they played really well. but they were behind and they had to come back and had to get the job done. So they've seen that they can play in that situation. Obviously, Dak Prescott, he has had a very good season this year, and we put biases aside. He does deserve to be in the conversation for MVP. Whether he is the league MVP, I'm not too convinced, because I do think that Lamar and CMC are miles clear of Dak. But yeah, we're going to have to pick the Cowboys. Let's move on. I don't want to talk about them anymore.
8-0 at home as well. 16-0 in total at home over the last 2 seasons. The Cowboys don't lose at AT&T.
And I think it was clutch as well getting that win, and the Eagles getting that loss, because I think it'd been a different story if the Cowboys were on the road, and I think we wouldn't be picking the Cowboys then. So it just shows how important these wins are, how important playoff seeding is, and how much of an impact it can actually make in the long run as well. Let's head back to the AFC then. And now I've just looked at it. Texans, Ravens in the divisional round. And now I'm looking back, and maybe I want the fairy tale story. Maybe I'd take the Browns, because Flacco back at Baltimore for the clash against his prodigy. The NFL script writers, remember, they love one of these stories. So maybe, what do they love more, the rookie, or do they want the veteran in the divisional round?
For me,
we'll stick with the Texans.
Yeah, you got to stick with CJ Stroud. And I think that game's going to be really good. I think it's going to be one of the games of the round, to be honest with you. And I know it's in Baltimore. If everything goes to plan, the game's in Baltimore. Okay, that's fine. We don't mind that. I've been to the stadium. It's okay. But CJ Stroud will go there and he will get the W. He's going to go to Baltimore. He's going to take the win away from Lamar Jackson. And CJ, the GOAT Stroud, he's going to have an unbelievable day. He's going to have an unbelievable postseason. And he's going to go 2-0 to start his young career in the playoffs. The Texans progress over the Ravens and go to the championship game, sir. That's my call.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to go with the Ravens on that one. I'm not even entertaining this. Yeah, forget this, pal. Look, I'm trying to avoid all this hate, and you're just bringing more and more of it on.
Mate, when this happens, me and my Oracle, me and my
Oracle. Maybe I need to tap in a bit more. I'll tap in for the NFC side. I don't really care about the AFC at this point.
CJ Stroud is unbelievable. He's getting it done. Mark my words.
God, talk about biases. What about then the other divisional clash, which would end up being, in this case, the Chiefs and the Bills? Now, we've seen it before. The Bills and the Chiefs, and we've seen what can happen. Doesn't matter how good of a game you can have, Mr. Josh Allen, Mr. Patrick Mahomes will take 20 seconds, 12 seconds, or whatever it was, and maybe a dodgy penalty call, and they'll go and win the Chiefs a game. I just think that if the Chiefs get through the Dolphins, they've got a tough route to get there. But I think if the Chiefs get through the Dolphins, I have no issues with that. And I think that then the Chiefs are going to go and take the Bills, go and make it a clash between the Ravens and the Chiefs in the AFC Conference Championship. What are you thinking, pal?
Not for me, mate. I think a game, it's going to be a game in Buffalo. And I think Josh Allen is going to prove a few people wrong. I think he's going to show up, and I think he's going to outplay Patrick Mahomes. We've spoken about kind of Mahomes not being able to kind of click this season. And we've spoken about Josh Allen in great detail. So make sure you kind of look back at all the other podcasts that we've done. They're good fun as well. But yeah, for me, Buffalo get the job done. And it's going to be a Buffalo versus Houston AFC Championship. And who would have called that at the start of the season? Not me, that's for sure. But I'm going to call it now. Josh Allen versus CJ Stroud in the AFC Championship game, bro.
You're an absolute lunatic, mate. You know, when they come up with comments and they say, oh, these Brits have nothing they talk about, you know what? I might have to like them after this podcast, because there is no way. I know we like CJ Stroud. I know we like Meeks Ryans, but come on, bro. Really? That far?
You've got to believe. You have to believe. And it's not, they're not going to stop there either. So let's keep going. He's got some more bold predictions that are going to come out. So let's keep going.
Right, we've heard it here first. Elliot Greenwood is manifesting a Houston Texans Conference Championship game. Let's go back over to the NFC then before absolute grease gets talked again. And let's look at the Rams and the Niners. Now, for me, I've had a look today. Mr. Eric Armstead is back for the playoffs. I've seen that Juwan Jennings is out of concussion protocol. I have seen that we are almost at full strength. We're testing out new cornerbacks as well because Mr. Jason Verrett has gone down again with a season-ending injury. So for the Niners against the Rams, we spunk them every single time. Yes, they got a dodgy win at the end of the season, but there's no contest here. The 49ers are absolutely wiping the Rams out of contention when Brock Purdy and CMC cooking.
I think I agree with you. The Niners will win.
Thanks, my God.
The Niners will win. The Niners will win. I don't think it's going to be as comfortable as you think it's going to be. I think Matthew Stafford is going to be electric. Puka Nacua is going to be electric. And Kyron Williams in the backfield is going to have an absolute day. The Niners have given up a lot of points against bad teams. That's a fact. They've given a lot of points up against even the Arizona Cardinals. They've given points up against. So I think for me, it's going to be a tighter game than people think. It's going to come down to the last drive of the game, and Brock Purdy's going to step up and he's going to hand the ball again to Christian McCaffrey, who's going to take the team over the line because Brock Purdy can do nothing. So I think for me, the Niners win, but Brock's flaws are going to be exposed a little bit, and there's going to be a few questions ahead of the championship game. That's all I'm going to say, sir. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, but we concede points against bad teams, but we also score a lot of points against bad teams. We put up 40s against the Eagles and Cowboys. We put up 40s against the Cardinals, put up 40s against God knows how many teams this season. It doesn't matter. As long as you're getting points on the board, which I think the Niners will, I think we're going to be okay. I think we've got enough juice in the tank to be zooming past into the conference game. And that's why you want the first seed. That's why you want it, to make sure that it's only one win and you're into the conference game. Got me doubting everything at this point, man. God damn. Eagles, Cowboys. Or for you, it's going to be the Bucs, Cowboys, isn't it?
Yeah, it is for me. And I don't care who we play. We're winning the game. If we play the Eagles, we beat the Eagles. If we play the Bucs, we beat the Bucs. If we play Detroit, we beat Detroit. I think the Cowboys, obviously, we've beaten all those teams already this season. Obviously, I don't think we're beating the Bucs this season, but we bet them last season in the playoffs. So these are all like really, really recent wins that we've had against these teams. And I can see us quite comfortably getting there. We've beaten these teams before. We'll beat them again. And AT&T, it's going to be the last game at AT&T of the season. I think we can both agree with that. But the championship game is the one that everyone wants as well. Let's be honest. It's the game that everyone expects. Everyone wants it to happen. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be San Francisco 49ers versus Big D and the Dallas Cowboys. And do you agree with that assumption, Taryn, or where do you think you're going?
Mate. I'm trying to make up reasons why it's not going to be the Cowboys and the Niners, barring the craziest upset of the season, which might have me in a stress-induced coma if that does not happen. It's going to have to be, isn't it? The Eagles, again, I really do like the Eagles. As much as I hate them, I do like them. I love the city. I love the fans. I love the passion. Yes, they're lunatics, but they are lunatics, and I love them for that. But I just don't think they've been clicking. And Jason Kelsey, I watched their podcast there, and they're talking about they played their starters this week so that they have a bit of momentum, but getting absolutely smacked about, kiss on the forehead, good night by the Giants is not what you want in the last game of the season. I think that's going to negatively affect them. And if they do make it to the divisional round, I don't think they go no further if they meet the Cowboys there. And even if it's a Bucs, I agree. I don't think they make it much further. As good as Baker's been, I just don't think they go past the Cowboys. So I agree there. The Cowboys-Niners is going to be the conference game over in the NFC. So then, completely different clashes here in the AFC. I've got the Chiefs Ravens and you've got the Bills Texans. You know what? Just keep chatting. Go on.
Final prediction, okay, for the AFC. And it's a massive one. It's another big one. Obviously, we're going to have CJ Stroud going into Buffalo and against Josh Allen in the cold, in the dark winter nights. And sometimes strange things can happen when the weather's odd, when the weather's going up and down. Sometimes the rock can be thrown differently, and it just happens to be a game where I think CJ Stroud's going to win. Houston Texans, mark my words, are going to be in the AFC Championship. They're going to win the game, obviously. I've predicted they're going to be there. Then they're going to win and they're going to the Super Bowl. The Houston Texans are Super Bowl bound. And I'm going to get so much stick for this. I'm going to get so much hate. But come back in bloody a month's time when we're all excited. And it is literally like a month and 2 days today is the Super Bowl. Or a month and 1 day, sorry. And I think everyone's going to be saying, they're going to be coming back. We're going to have millions of fans coming back to this video of you laughing at me, predicting Stroud is going all the way. But mark my words, put a bet on it, Taryn. Houston Texans are going to the Super Bowl. There you go.
This podcast has lost all credibility in the last 23 minutes.
It didn't have any.
You know what? I genuinely think I would cry if I saw Miko Ryans meet the Niners in the Super Bowl. I honestly think that would be... The NFL scriptwriters have been working overtime if that is the case, because I would not be able to comprehend that. You know what? I'm just going to let you run with it. I'm not going to cuss it, because if it happens, it'd be amazing. But if it doesn't, yeah, I don't look like an idiot at the end of it. So I'll leave you to it. Fine, carry on, pal. Whereas in my predictions, it's Chiefs-Ravens. Now, Mahomes has made it this far, but I don't think he's going to make it much further. I think this is Lamar's time. This is the season where the Ravens make it to the very end, to the big chip at the end. And this is the season where it all starts unraveling for the Chiefs, I think. I think Kelsey retires after this season. I think both Kelsey brothers retire.
That's a bold prediction. Wow.
I think that is going to be their final leaving piece. I can see the endorsements flying left, right, and center after this. What an amazing career. I don't know. I just think this is the swan song. And I think I can't see it any way the Chiefs get past the Ravens with the form that they've been in. Unless it's a bit of Mahomes magic. And if it does, I'll hold my hands up and say, okay, I expected that. But I'm going to take the Ravens and I'm going to say that they're going to be in the Super Bowl. So the NFC, the big clash.
Massive, massive game.
Now, whatever happens, we're going to have to make sure that you and me are in the same room when this goes down. I don't care if it's 1 o'clock in the morning here in England. I don't care if it's God knows what time. We're going to make sure that we either pull a sickie the day after. Hopefully HR doesn't see this for either of our companies. Or we're going to make sure we try and get a day off, because we need to be in the room when this happens. Like it's Hamilton. We need to be in the room where it happens. When the 49ers absolutely demolish the Cowboys for a second time this season, for a third time in 2 years. You're going to be embarrassed. You're going to be absolutely embarrassed by the 49ers. And I'm going to be sat there smiling and giggling and laughing at the fact that you had all this. Oh, yeah. No. Brock Purdy, the man, the myth. Do you not hear what he said today? Game manager. He said, if you call me a game manager, either you haven't been watching me play or you don't know what you're looking at. That is my QB. That is my king. Brock Purdy is going to be going to the Super Bowl. He's keeping his elbow intact this year, and your tears are going to be streaming.
Are you quite finished?
No, pal. Carry on.
Come on. Okay, right. Micah Parsons on the defense. DeMarcus Lawrence on the defense. Both those people have the most QB pressures as a team, kind of as a duo, more than anyone else, and the most sacks more than anyone else in the league. We've spoken about DaRon Bland. We've also got Stephon Gilmore at the other side and Malik Hooker at safety. And at linebacker, it doesn't really matter. No, you're not going to get to the linebackers because your quarterback's going to be sacked. It's going to be a game that's going to be exciting, but those players on defense are going to stand up, and they're going to stand up tall. And they're going to get the ball back to the offense. And who have we got on the offense, Taryn? Well, let me tell you, we've got one of the best offensive lines in the league. We've got Zach Martin. We've got Tyler Smith. We've got Tyrone Smith. It's going to be an absolute powerhouse of an O-line it is. Let me tell you, Chase Young and Nick Bosa are going to have nothing to do. We're then going to run the ball with Tony Pollard, and we're going to run on you, and we're going to run far and fast. And Dak Prescott, once he's opened up the run game and he's got the play action going, he's going to throw the ball to CD Lamb. CD for TDs. He's going to score so many points at Levi Stadium. And if CD's not open, if you decide to triple coverage him, because that's the only way that you stop him getting the ball, well, Brandon Cooks is going to run all over your D. And it's going to be a game where if those two don't get involved, Jake Ferguson's going to get points, bro.
Oh
He's going to get involved. And then if we have to kick the field goal, well, it's got to be the most accurate kicker and the only kicker that's kind of gone to the Pro Bowl in his rookie season in Brandon Aubrey. So I just think it's just all the pieces are there. And it's going to be such a good game. And it's going to be a game where I'm going to be laughing at your face, at your tears. And it will be on a Sunday night, unfortunately. So we will have to pull a sickie. But I think the Cowboys get it done. And I think it's the Cowboys versus the Texans in the Super Bowl. And that is a massive prediction. That is so bold. Nearly as bold as you're going, Taz. If you took that hat off, it'd be disgraceful. But for me, that's the Super Bowl. Dallas Cowboys, Houston Texans.
Well, I haven't seen you take a bigger L than you're about to take from the Niners since you were last single, my friend. This is a horrid take. And I think we need to figure out what days we need to book off because I want to make sure that I'm sat there watching you crumble, watching your corners go, talking about my corners, talking about my hairline. Wow, yours. Deron Bland's going to rip it right off when he fumbles and when the 49ers make it to the Super Bowl. So let's get to this point now then. So you've got the Cowboys and the Texans in the Super Bowl in February with Usher singing at halftime. And I've got the Ravens and the 49ers with Usher singing at halftime. Now, I don't know what I'm looking forward to more. Usher singing at halftime or the look on your face when your predictions are absolutely miles off.
They may be off in the AFC. I'll concede that in the AFC, the Houston Texans might be a little bit too bold. Okay, but that's fine. I don't mind it. Because the NFC prediction is correct. It's going to be the Cowboys are going to be there. I think Usher's, by the way, Usher's a bad call.
Yeah, terrible.
After where they've gone, like, I think it was all set up for it to be Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Which would have been, I think it would have been a bit predictable. Yeah. She's bound to get one at some point. But, like, I just don't think Usher was the move, to be honest with you. I don't know what you think, but...
I'm just thinking the only thing with Usher is maybe Justin Bieber comes out because them two are quite close. I genuinely thought it was with Justin Bieber and DJ Khaled, and I think it would have been quite possibly the funniest Super Bowl halftime performance ever. So I'm waiting, holding out. I'm telling you, that's my pick. Justin Bieber is going to be coming out for the Super Bowl with Usher, 100%.
Well, whoever's going to be going out at halftime, at the end of the game, the Vince Lombardi Trophy is going to be there in the hands of one team, of one man, and at this stage, he will have got the MVP. At this stage, all the critics will be silenced. And at this stage, I will stand up tall, look you in the eye, and spit on you, you vile man, as Dak Prescott hoists the Lombardi Trophy high above his head, and the Dallas Cowboys are Super Bowl champions for the 6th time. And when that happens, bro... Oh, this podcast is going to be ruined forever. It's going to be so good.
A long arc spit from you 5'9" man. So, you know.
I'm 6'1".
Well, it's nice to see that I think we've both got our teams winning the Super Bowl this year. Unfortunately, it only means that one of our teams is going to be likely to make it to the Super Bowl. Not both of them can. It would be hilarious if neither of our team makes it to the Super Bowl and we just don't even bother watching it in the end. But I understand the loyalties, but on a serious level, I think we can both agree that our teams have been incredible this year. The Cowboys and the Niners have been incredible, and they're going to clash at some point. And I think, as much as it pains me to say, whoever wins that clash, I'm sure you can agree, will deserve to go on to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Dallas will, yeah.
I think it's going to be quite clear here that we're not going to be able to agree. The both of us both feel that our teams are going to win the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, guys, that's what happens when you have two Brits sat on the sofa. The only NFL atmosphere they experience is putting the volume on to 70. That's what you get from us lot over here on the All Out Brits podcast. But if it comes true, if we see the Texans in the Super Bowl, if we see the Niners absolutely pummel the Cowboys, you know that you heard it first here on the All Out Brits podcast. And it'll mean they'll come back for more, won't it, Mr. Elliot Greenwood?
Mate, they'll be coming back all the way from wherever you type in your hate comments, or all the way from Seattle and Washington and Miami. Well, come on, give us more. We want the hate, don't we, Tom? We invite the pressure, because no matter what, when the Brits come and the Blitz comes, we stand there and we deliver, don't we? So we are calm and composed, and we're just so good.
We are. It's a battle of the hairlines at this point as well. And if you want to see who wins the battle of the hairlines come Super Bowl, make sure you stick around. Make sure you keep coming back, and make sure you keep seeing whose tears are being shed every single week in the playoff football season, in the win or go home season, in the crunch time, in the playoffs here in the NFL. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and we shall see you next time. Keep supporting us. Keep your eyes out on YouTube, TikTok, and Spotify. We're available everywhere. If you want to keep joining us, keep enjoying us as well, you're always welcome to, and we're always available. We'll see you next time on the All Out Brits podcast.